Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Wednesday the 29th of November. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. It's a quiet week still, isn't it? We did have a little try on Tuesday, was on some big prices, but yeah, we'll get to the review, but no good Tuesday. So we didn't start the week off well. But I'm back again for the technically official start of the channel week for Wednesday selections, and yeah, it's gonna be quiet. We've got Dundalk Wednesday, Dundalk Friday, and yeah, it jumps outside of that. There looks like there might be more potential come Saturday. Oh, hang on a second. Where's my lamp? There we go. That's better. My lamp just went off weirdly. Yeah, so the jumps will just sort of pick and choose their moments. But as far as Wednesday goes, I'm just going to go Dundalk only. Nothing stand out on the jumps in the UK. So Dundalk only, 4 horses, 4 races. It's 1 Yankee. That's it. So it's what is it? I think it's £9. £9 stake. So we're sort of half day staking all the way along, and that's why. It's in these times where people can end up just churning through lots and lots of cash they've built up if they're in some sort of profit. And if it's quiet, you don't look for things when they're not there. So that's coming up. Tips to competition we'll do tomorrow night, and I'll have a mention on the golf. So I've got three golfers. We're going to have a tiny little interest in the golf. So I didn't do any golf last week. Got 3 big prices. I think there's 125s, 300 to 1, 400 to 1. That's the golfers this week. So we get to that. All right. What do we do? The video this morning. We did the Saturday review. We had nothing in the comments on Sunday, but we did have 2 duffers on Monday. I think after getting well backed in as well. But duffers Monday, and then on Tuesday, this was the bet. Ooga Booga ran with credit, and I think whether or not it would have placed, you're never going to know these things. But Danny Gilligan didn't go to Tremor for any of his rides, so we got a jockey change, which would have made me less keen. Not that Mike O'Connor was a bad jockey, but I was particularly keen because it was Danny Gilligan. And then it's a maiden hurdle over 2 miles. There was only going to be 8 jumps, and then the low lying sun meant they ended up being 4 jumps. So the problem with that is, and I didn't go through this in detail, was one of the things I particularly liked about the race structure is the front 2 in the market had good form and on bumpers, so flat national hunt rules, but not necessarily this was them coming over hurdles for the first time. And that's always a helpful thing in a market like that the market's priced up on what they've done over bumpers, but you've never actually seen the horse jump over a hurdle potentially. Some of them sometimes done point to point. I can't those 2 specifically, but not gone over hurdles, and therefore it's a different discipline. So the fact that half the jumps got taken out meant it was more akin to a bumper, because you only had 4 little obstacles to jump over. So yeah, there was a few things against Ooga Booga, but it ran a great race and came 5th. So anyone playing in the side bet market on 365, I think the best you could have got was maybe 66s for 5 places. I know if someone's put in, they got 40s for 5 places, but that was that. And then the rest of it was an absolute write-off. That horse went out to 125 to 1 after the video, into 28s in places, and then back out again. Ran no sort of race. That was well backed into 15 to 2, no good. And then Moraval again, well shortened up. So at one point it went to 12 to 1. There was a 15p rule for on what I had, but even so, 15p on 66 to 1 was considerably better than 12 to 1 where it went in, but it drifted back out again. But ultimately, no good, no return. So that was Tuesday. So Wednesday we're back on a firmer footing, shall we say. There's no jumping involved, it is just the all-weather. Where have we got to? Right. So this is the one and only bet for the horses for Wednesday. These 4 is what I've got. All handicaps at Dundalk. 425 Dundalk, Angel above. So as you know on this channel, I regularly try and have a little fish around in the Luke Homer horses. This one is the one I'm gone for today. It fits the bill. I want to say fits the bill. Coming off a break, going back to the all-weather is a nice sign off a Luke Homer horse. I mean, there's no precise science with these things, but its form over maidens at Dundalk is much better than it's shown in turf races. So we'll take a chance on that one, bouncing back after a layoff. Angel Above, 33-1. We then got 5 o'clock. So you'll notice I haven't got the 7 o'clock, which is the other big field one. I've got the 5 o'clock, which is only 8 runners at the time making this video, and most of them ran against each other last time. And I was on. I say I was on. My memory says I was on Dreams Day last time, but I didn't actually double check that, so I might be talking absolute nonsense. But I'm on Dreams Day today. From a value point of view, it's the right horse at the prices currently. 16s on 365, 14s most other places. Felt like the right one for me, in terms of there's not much in between some of these, and that horse had some back form that would actually say it was much better than all of those anyway. So if it improves from what it did last time, then I think that's enough to get competitive. We then got the 5:30 Dundalk Landu, 25-1, and finishing off the 6 o'clock Dundalk Pickpool. Ran terribly last time, but the history of the horses, runs badly on first time out of the season, runs much better second time, so we'll take a chance on that one. So we've got 20p each way Yankee, 50p each way singles on all 4, so they've all of them got 50p each way single, and we've got 30p each way double on the best 2. So Angel Above and Pickpool, slightly higher price Landu, but I prefer Pickpool from a value perspective overall, as in there's more points between that and where I think it should be relative to its chances than Landu, because with Landu, my memory's saying I think we're taking a slight chance with the distance change on Landu, but yeah, my brain's a bit fried today in terms of remembering some of the detail that I'm normally very hot on. So anywho, that's the 4 I've got. £9 is the bet. Sky Best, 365 Paddy, Coral, Ladbrokes, all same place terms, and you'll get best price guaranteed in the morning. And then 888 Unibet, Betway, Betfred, next best. Avoid Hills, avoid Betfair. So you know, these races where there's 13, 14 runners, Hills pretty much now are paying 3 places, and you know it's just not competitive place terms. So if you can avoid putting your bet on with Hills, I would absolutely avoid it. So many times in these races, I'm hitting a 4th place, so it can be very, very useful. Who knows those 4? I might be hitting absolute 0. So I think the last 2 videos, I think we're 8-0. I think four losers on Tuesday and 4 on Saturday. Yeah, the last 2 videos, 8 horses. I mean, albeit big prices, but 0 return on that channel stats wise. All right, that's that. And then golf. So golf, it's an interesting weekend for golf because you've got the Hero Challenge, which is like the Tiger Woods thing. There's about 50 golfers in there, but there's not massive. They're not massive prices, and it's not converting to value. As you know, you're talking marginal point value on there. So, in terms of each way place terms, because it's a smaller field, you've got a better statistical chance. But I didn't have a strong read in the tournament, so I've left that one. And then the sort of the European Tour is split at the moment, as it was last week, where there's a tournament in South Africa and a tournament in Australia. The important thing to note, because of the Australian one, that tournament starts on Wednesday, sort of early evening, well, middle, 8 o'clock or something like that. Wednesday, 8 o'clock. So we're not Thursday morning. So if you're getting golf bets on, you need to get the golf bets on the Australian tournament on prior to having your tea, basically, on Wednesday. But what you've got is, in those 2 tournaments, you've got a much higher level of more local players. So in South Africa, a lot more South African players, in Australia, a lot more Australian ones. You've also got a bunch of new players coming through into the DP Tour. So what you've got is, because technically one season's come to the end and the new one started, so as in the road to Dubai is finished. So I appreciate not everybody understands this stuff, and some people I'm teaching to suck eggs here. Road to Dubai is finished. So what that means is, you've then got some players will have dropped off and have lost their tour cards. So they're out of the DP World Tour. Some will have decided they don't want to go to South Africa or particularly Australia because it's so far away. Therefore, there's more opportunities for some of the lesser known people, but it also means this time of year you've got people coming in from qualifying school and from the Challenge Tour. So the Challenge Tour promote people up into DP World Tour, and that's basically the sort of highest performing ones on there. So you tend to find there's some young talent in there and some people that used to be in the DP World Tour. So you've got some less familiar names, some young up and coming golfers, and you've got some more kind of locally based ones of the tournament are. So that it's not lending itself to having a clear read on these things. Plus you've got tournaments that are only being playing on the course they've been playing them on for the second time. So that you haven't got a history of kind of how the course plays either. So all that being said, what have I got? An Australian one. I'll put these in the comments. But the Australian one, we've got one golfer having a little punt. We're going to do a half stake, so 50p each way is a whole stake, half stake 25p each way on Channel Stat. But obviously we don't record the golf for the Channel Stats, but if you were following it in terms of in line with Channel, Frank Kennedy, most people won't have heard of him. He's I think he's only 18, he's English, he's gone pro really early, and he's got the same caddy that Nick Fowler used to have. So he's got a lot of experience on the bag. But he hadn't really done much. But turning pro at that age is a pretty bold move. He could have gone through the US college system and stuff, and he's decided to go pro. He felt like he was ready. He'd not really done much in any of the tournaments until last week in Australia, and he came tied 7th. And I think just on that basis that he's a young player who's going to improve all the time, and he had a decent round last week at 300 to 1. That's worth a little half stake, I think. And the key thing with the golf for this week is most bookies are paying 6 places. Best place to put the golf bets on 365. You can get 8 places, fifth of the odds. If you go into 365, in terms of what they advertise, it's on the main market. It's 5 places, quarter of the odds, but there's a separate column, 5th place, 8 places, fifth of the odds. So you basically can get the same prices competitively you can in a lot of other bookmakers, but you get an extra couple of places to play with, so 7th and 8th count. So definite advisory for 365. But we're going to have a little try on Frank Kennedy, and if you can see if you can repeat last week's antics, and then the slightly stronger ones, I would say, in the South African tournament. Number one pick is Jaco Prinsloo, but in both South African I've gone for. They're Jaco Prinsloo, 125 to 1. And the second option, riskier one, but I would advise it on a full stake, is Oki Stridon. Really experienced golfer, and he had a right kind of touch, winning a couple of tournaments a bit less than a year ago, and then he's gone bang out of form and been missing cuts like nobody's business. And then the last tournament he played, he did actually make the cut for the first time in ages. And he's the kind of player where he absolutely could bounce up and just hit some decent rounds. And generally speaking, I think he's better playing on the African continent if you look at his results. So we'll have a little chance at 400 to 1 on Oki Stridon. So I'll put them in the comments, but that's just a little bit more blurb because I haven't got loads of other topics to talk about tonight, so I'll give you a little bit more on the golf. So that is that. And I think that's it. So that is for the 29th. So we've got 2 days to go with November. So we've had a nice month, even though last couple of days have been no good. But it's been a nice month, and we'll see what December brings. In terms of December, for those of you who are less familiar, we'll work with what we've got for a few weeks. You've got a couple of day break for Christmas, and then we come back, and the last week of December is super busy. So it is up there with Galway Goodwood week for busyness. So you've got a combination of things. You've got the King George on the 26th on Boxing Day. On the 27th, I double check that. Usually use the day after 27th. You've got the Welsh Grand National. So two interesting races. But I mean, as far as Channel goes, we're far more interested in the Welsh Grand National than we are the King George. But in terms of meeting wise, Chepstow and Kempton are good. But Limerick and Leopardstown are on for 4 days in Ireland. Is it 4 or is it 5? 4 or 5? I'll tell you what, my brain's misfiring. 4 or 5 days. I can't even remember. But basically, there's basically a lot of racing at Limerick and Leopardstown, and normally you get a couple of good handicaps in each meeting, and then you string that together with what else is available. I think last year, at the start of the week, we hit a nice touch, and then we didn't get much else from it. But it'll be a really, really busy week. So, for those of you who enjoy the quieter one bet, half day stake and stuff, then enjoy it while it lasts. When we get to that last week of December, it will be a bit more full throttle, and we're much more likely to be sort of 30-40 pounder sort of stake and a half double staking days for the end of December. And then you get to that funny bit, like it's like the 30th or the last couple of days of December. No, not so good. But yeah, I think it's fine. Got 5 days of busyness, so we'll see. All right, that's me. I'm going to go now because I just need to go to bed. I was up far too late last night. All right, I will be back tomorrow night for whatever I've got on Thursday. It's all jumps on Thursday, so we'll see what we can do. Whether I can find anything at all that I'm happy about, we'll see. There'll be a vid either way because I'll come back and give you a bit of a tipster update. So, but hopefully I can find a couple of horses I like for Thursday as well on the jumps. But we will see. All right, have a good Wednesday. See you Wednesday night. Thank you very much. Bye bye.